for the compressor to kick off.
We're live?
Yes.
Oh, we're live, dude.
Okay. Welcome everybody. It's Friday. Here we are in the shop at Woodsmith. Gonna give you the standard tour as we usually do on our Fridays. And now that the air compressor has kicked off, you can probably hear me a whole lot better. So I'll give you a quick update on a couple of projects that I've been working on. You'll remember the radio cabinet that I cut the front panel in half and I started veneering the doors. So I got one door pretty much done, all cleaned up and trimmed, and it's going to be ready for finish, and I think it's going to look pretty cool. So, and I did the veneering using a vacuum bag kit that comes from Roar Rocket. They're for making your own skateboards, and you can hook up a shop vac to suck most of the air out, or they come with a little pump to draw the air out. It's a pretty sweet setup, especially if you don't have a lot of space for a traditional vacuum bag, or even if you don't have a compressor. So I've liked it for smaller projects like this, and it's worked out really well. The other thing that's been kind of fun for me that I did this week is that I turned. So I had gotten a carving gouge from Logan because Logan's addicted to old tools, and especially when they smile at him and he needs to give them a home.
They look cold and hungry.
Right. So I had a set of chisels that I got for a wedding gift from my wife, and so I wanted to make new wood handles for them, and I really like this handle shape and style. A little bit ornate, but not too ornate. And so for my very first lathe turning experience, we shot a video of it, and you'll see that if you're part of our Woodsmith Unlimited subscriber package. And if you're not, I urge you to check that out because it gives you access to the magazine and the back issues, plus our weekly video series that we've been doing that brings you 2 to 3 new videos every week of the year. So take a look at that in the next couple of months for when that video comes out. So the big thing that's been going on here for the shop is getting ready for our very first live in-person class. So if you'll notice behind me is Mr. Steve Johnson.
Everybody?
He's working away on one of the main skills for this particular class will be cutting large dovetails. So he's refining the process on that. We'll be using the bandsaw, a bunch of hand tools for it. You can also see all of our blanks here ready for students to come in tomorrow. We had a couple of late cancellations, so if you're within driving distance of the Des Moines, Iowa metropolitan area, give us a call, come on down, we'd love to have you. So there's still a couple of spaces left, and we'll kick off tomorrow morning, 9 in the a.m., and we're going to be building a pretty sweet vise that if you've seen the last, probably 2 lives ago, we talked about 2 lives ago, we talked about those as well. So Chris and the gang, not to be confused with Cool, are busy working along on final preparations for that. We're all excited about that. So we're going to swing back around. Dylan's got a few. We have a few questions. We're always here to answer questions. Have I used pressure-sensitive veneer? Now, pressure-sensitive, the veneer that I used for my doors here is what's called raw veneer.
Uncooked.
Uncooked, because once you have pasteurized that veneer, it's not nearly as healthy as raw veneer. So raw veneer is really just sliced straight from the tree. In burl form, it usually is pretty wavy. I've taken some steps to flatten this. Now, pressure-sensitive veneer is a veneer that has a paper backing applied to it, very similar to grocery bag craft paper, and then has a pressure-sensitive adhesive applied to that. We've used it on the show a few times and in projects, and if you roll it out really well, it works I think it works really nice. What's really nice about the pressure-sensitive veneer or paper-backed veneer in general is that it's flat right from the start. You don't have to do any extra flattening steps. Usually comes in a roll, but you just use your J roller, find all the J's on your veneer, roll them out. You want them flat. So I've used it, I like it. It's just not always available in some of the materials that you're looking for. Whereas, you know, the burl veneers and some of the more highly figured stuff, it's usually just in raw form. So it's kind of a choose your own adventure when you go with that. Another question?
No. CBN sharpening stones.
What is it? Have we done anything on it?
Can you use old gouges on CBN sharpening stones? CBN wheels are designed specifically for turning tools, mainly bowl gouges and parting tools. You do not want to use a CBN wheel on that profile or bowl or a spindle roughing gouge. 99% of all manufacturers, I think all manufacturers of the CBN diamond wheels will tell you do not do it because you can get catches and it will damage the wheel. So no traditional wheels or oil stones, water stones.
All right, there's your answer on that.
Okay.
So, any other questions? All right, we're good for now. We're gonna head over to Dylan, see what he's been up to. Cameo by Chris Fitch.
Whoa.
Well, I do have a question for Chris.
Okay, we'll come back.
Back to him, or?
Yeah, I'm already over here, sorry.
Good way.
So a couple things go on here to address the project I've been working on for the last couple of weeks, the Nicholson style workbench. I'm finally getting to final stages of it, I think. I did a lot of smoothing and finishing work this week to get it prepared to paint and or oil. I did run into one small problem with my vise, indoor vise chop. Everything is well on here, nothing looks wrong with it. However, my alignment was just off enough where the vise screw goes through, as well as the parallel guide here. It was just enough where it just made more sense to just go ahead and make a new one. So as you can see on top of my apron that is disassembled, I just re-drilled my hole for the vise screw, redid my mortise or my through mortise for my parallel guide, got my parallel guide with a tenon, and so it's just a matter of, again, just fixing that, got around the corners, just some light finishing touches. It is crucial, especially on vices like this, that everything is just dead accurate, otherwise it's cause for binding. And
you're just fighting with it all the time then.
Right, and 16th or 32nd of an inch here, you just end up kind of playing this domino game where you just are shaving a little bit off, a little bit more off, to the point where you wish you would have just started over. So I cut my losses on that and just started from scratch. I figured if I've already made it once, it's going to go faster the second time. So
yeah. We've talked in the past about this bench being different from some other styles. Instead of having like a really thick, massive slab on the top,
Sure.
It's more like each piece connects and interconnects with all the other ones, so that the whole thing creates a rigid structure.
right.
And we posted a couple of photos of this on social media earlier this week, and one of the questions that came up with is on the front and back you have these diagonal stretchers.
Sure.
You want to talk to that a little bit?
Yeah, so I don't remember which specific comment it was, but I added these for not only the structural capacity of it, but also the aesthetic. So if you notice on mine, I did basically a dovetailed joint. It's not technically a half lap, it kind of is, it kind of isn't.
Yeah.
Because it's the full thickness of the stretcher. So, dealing with the diagonal rather than straight across, triangles are a very strong shape, and then having just the interlocking pattern in conjunction with the dovetail was really good aesthetic, even though it does serve as a structural element. There was a comment about doing it on the inside to prevent, your foot or your shin from hitting it. I think it's low enough where you're probably not going to run into that problem. However, that is a good suggestion, but for our sake, again, it would have taken away from the, dovetail aesthetic of it.
Right.
Again, with the aprons itself, there's obviously several other ways that you could go about constructing them. You could do stretchers that are parallel at the top. You could just do one center one that connects your two bottom short stretchers.
Right.
Again, there's other options within that. They were just more of a design choice that we made to again, give a little bit more personality. So.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where it's like a 2+2=5 sort of thing.
Right.
By creating those angles in there, we're getting a much more rigid structure.
Right.
And almost to the point that we're intentionally
over-engineering
Yeah.
building it. Yeah, correct.
Cool. And then, go ahead.
No. Oh, okay. So the other thing I was going to talk about is just, I guess, my role in the class tomorrow. We've got all the individual stations set up, and right now I'm just working on walking through the construction of the rear jaw on the auxiliary vise. And again, doing that is just allowing us to kind of run through it, figure out what the best kind of setup is for not only us, but for the students that'll be here. So again, for me, it just helps run through it, take some notes, and then just make sure that things are going as efficiently as possible through the kind of the three different stages or cycles we have here. So
Yeah. And then on the back, your back bench there, you got a little personal project going on.
yeah, so I've been in the process of kind of renovating a very small room in my home that I'm considering an office, although the size of it would constitute more for a jail cell than an office. But I've had this shelf I built probably months ago, maybe even a year ago, just for some hand tools and some storage for my workbench. And what I did was I just kind of took the initial design with this, shrunk it down, did 2 shelves that I have at home, and then I went ahead and made this desk that's going to be adhered to my wall. So it's kind of just cantilevered, just kind of work area. I'm either going to have a computer monitor or my TV on it. Again, just a little bit of storage to kind of keep myself organized. But I got most of the construction down, sanding. I just got to kind of decide on the paint color, and I'll get that stuff down. And in the process, I'm probably going to take some photographs, and then of course the final product itself will have some images to show you guys. So look forward to finishing that up.
Okay, and I think we're gonna transition so Mark can give his final salute to the waterfall bookcase.
Hey everyone, yeah, progress on the waterfall bookcase, it is done. So there it is, enjoy.
You know, one of the things, Mark, that we go back and forth on every time we build a project, but more so with mahogany, is the color.
Yes.
Like, are we going to stain it, for one? And
Yeah.
usually the answer is yes, because it looks better on photos. And then 2, what color? Because a lot of times you'll see mahogany and it ends up looking like a red wine red,
Right.
or sometimes a super chocolatey brown that
Yeah.
wants to be walnut or something.
And I know last week we had that sample board of different stains and finishes, and we totally went off track with those guys and just went with something different. So this was a General Finishes candlelight stain, which I think makes it look pretty awesome. So I'm happy we went with that one.
Yeah, I like that it's got a nice balance between the red and the purple without being too heavy either way.
Yeah.
And then one thing that we were really concerned about is making sure that we could see that contrast with the walnut.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't stand out too much. I think it's just a perfect contrast between the two species. So yeah, it turned out real nice. I think this has got to be up there with one of my favourite projects that I've done.
Yeah.
Just because this was the first time I actually tackled this string inlay work. And I know when Dylan first showed me the plans, we were considering, well, is that achievable to get those radiuses as tight as it is there? Why don't we just make it square? I'm like, no, we'll just stick the original plan, and basically the challenge was on to get them as tight as they were. So yeah, stuck with it and tackled it, and I think achieved it pretty well. So there it is.
Yeah. And I like the hardware that we went with. We got kind of a floral shaped knobs on the drawer, and then they end up being decorative, but it's traditional to have the lift handles on the sides.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And again, it's not we have another part, so it's a little taller than it would be, but I like this height of it. It's a nice,
it's a perfect.
nice approachable size.
It's not overbearing, it's just right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then we went with fixed shelves on this to go with that waterfall stepped look on the profile of the sides. And for the fact that even though we build projects with adjustable shelves, they almost never get changed.
Exactly.
So
this was a good one to have, fixed shelves.
yeah. Okay.
So there it is.
Nice.
I just want to highlight my next project I'll be starting next week.
Oh yeah.
I've been looking forward to this one. It's been in the works for a couple of months. It is a Chris Fitch designed little wooden boat. So there it is.
Fitch flotilla.
Yeah, the Fitch flotilla. There you go. So I'll be getting started out on Monday. So check back in next week for progress on that. In the meantime, we are still working on our production line of getting parts and pieces ready for our class this weekend. So that's pretty much what we've got going on.
All right.
See you next week.
Logan, you got anything? Recommendations?
I do have a bowl on each show.
Yeah, let's get it. Why don't you get the bowl, and then we'll wander over by Chris and
You know what?
take care of the question.
You know what I like about these lives most of all?
What's that?
Is that Chris doesn't have time for this live stuff. He's over there just beating on metal, working away. I enjoy it.
I'm a patient guy. Really.
All right.
Hello, John.
Hey.
So we got a question. What is it? So while they're getting the question, parts for this weekend's vise build. Most of this is for the, has to do with the vise screw itself. And so this is a sample I'm going ahead and putting together. You can see we got the threaded rod, got the hub on. This is where the wooden plug will go. And then this will be the handle. And so I've driven on one of the ends. And if I'm not distracted too much, I will put this through the hole and then put that other hub on there and not prior.
Right. So the question, Chris,
All right.
is for design and project ideas, where do they come from? Do they ever come from readers and viewers?
Occasionally they do. Hey, we love any good idea. A good idea can come from something we've seen in a museum, a furniture store, someone's home, Pinterest, or a viewer.
So yeah, so send those in. You can reply either to the comments, whether you're watching this on the Facebooks or YouTube, or catch us on through email. Heck, even give us a call on the phone, and we'll take your idea down and then run it through our design process with Chris and all the fellas down here. So then, Logan, you said you have a little surprise there.
Is it a body or is it a wall?
Well, we don't know.
I know. So I have this fun little guy that I've been working on. It's living in some wet shavings right now to try to keep it from cracking until I can get back to it. But it's gonna be, I think, a fun little hollow form. Yeah. So I seen there is a he was an Irish turner, passed away a couple years ago, but he used to do some double rims.
Really?
Which I thought were really cool. And he'd carve one and carve the other so they kind of look like they're flowing, kind of organic, almost petal leaf shape. So I figured I would give it a go. So I got some now stinky cherry, but some cherry I've been, turning. And yeah, so I thought that'd be a fun little vessel. I don't know what you would use it for, but some of this stuff, it's art.
Right.
You don't really use it. It's just like you don't use your grandma's fine china that you have held on to for 30 years. So I don't know, but yeah, that's what I'm working on. It's fun. Once this class is done, I don't feel too bad then about making a mess in that CNC room again by throwing wet shavings all over. So I figured I'd take a break until the class is over, and then we'll continue to try to hollow this guy out. So just kind of a fun little reverse OG shape, and I don't know, we'll see.
Okay, I think it looks cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
So it's interesting, the bark has not shrunk like the rest of it. There's now ridges all over where the bark is.
Really?
Yeah, so kind of interesting.
Okay.
Yep.
We have one more question. This just in.
John coming back.
Is who?
John.
Is Don coming back? Mr. Don Peschke, the founder of Woodsmith, has retired, and he's now enjoying his own workshop in Utah. He's moved out there and spending some time. Occasionally see him around town here. He's still the owner of the Woodsmith store in Des Moines, Iowa. And both Logan and I and Chris and a few others have done some classes out there for seminars, so we get to see him from time to time. But otherwise, no, he will not be coming back, and we've moved on to a different set of cast members. However,
I believe we could probably get a petition going for Phil to grow a mustache, if that's what people miss.
That's what the people are asking for.
I think that petition just started and we have, what, 6 yeses in this room? Okay.
I love the laugh.
Yes, and
And
the
the
laugh.
laugh. Okay. All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching and for tuning in. Always want to hear any questions, comments, smart remarks that you might have. You can post those in the comments below, and we'll address them on a future live or once we see them on the social medias. But like I said, tomorrow we're doing a class, making an auxiliary bench vise. If you're one of the students that are coming, we look forward to seeing you and meeting you and getting started on that. So otherwise, we'll see you again next week, everybody. Bye.